All right, so what you're seeing in front of you is gonna be our humble YouTube studio setup, and I call this as the cheap and effective and versatile setup. All these things that you're seeing, that's all there is to it, but trust me, this humble setup is capable of producing some really good quality videos. And I'm very soon going to be going to each of these elements that you're seeing here in this setup, right from the background to that mic to everything. But before that, okay, let's just head into a quick presentation to understand. Remember, I use those three terms: cheap, effective, and versatile. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Let's just quickly talk about that, and let's come back to the studio and let's go to each element. Okay, so let's do this. Right, so let's quickly understand why I call this setup the cheap, effective, and versatile one. So this is the humble YouTube studio setup that you've just seen, and the points that make it all these things that I've just said are these 3 points. It costs less than $75, excluding the microphone. So here I've said less than $75 plus cost of the microphone. By the way, in this course, now before I move further here, in this course, when it comes to showing things and talking in terms of costs, I've decided to use US dollars. That's because I have students from over 170 countries, and I just feel that the US dollar is perhaps the most popular currency. So it's kind of easy to then, understand. No matter where you're from, you'll be able to understand and get an estimate in your own currency, okay? So it costs less than $75, which just basically means it's very cheap. However, you will also have to spend some money on the microphone. I've written that separately, and the reason for that is because the microphone is a very, very important part. And depending on your budget, you can buy different types of mics, but we will still be only looking at the good quality mics. So I'll be showing you different types of mics ranging from different budgets later on in the course, but they all will be good quality mics, and we won't just be cutting some corners just to save the cost here, because always remember the golden rule of making any sort of video, not just YouTube video, is that audio is more important than video, because your viewers can still forgive you sometimes for a bad looking video, but they will never forgive you for bad quality audio, because that causes a lot of discomfort. So they'll just switch the video off. Okay. So microphone is very important. We'll talk about it separately. However, you can see here, it costs less, right? The other things that you saw in this setup, they're going to cost you even sometimes less than $50. Okay. But it still produces good quality videos. So that should always be the main aim. Secondly, it's extremely flexible. So, we're going to be discussing all the different things that you saw. We're going to categorize them as elements, like the light stand, the light, the backdrop. All these things are the elements that form this YouTube studio setup, okay? I've created this course in such a way that all this is extremely flexible. By that, I mean that, for one person, if they say, what, Kush, I've got this month I'm struggling a lot with money and I don't really have the budget. Well, no problem. I'll show you so many alternatives for each element that you will be able to kind of form this studio setup in a way which is customized for you and for your budget. Someone else might be willing to spend slightly more. I'll also show you the options there, that if you really want to go to the next level, what is it that you can which money can give you, and that can be great because it can definitely lead to an increase in the quality. So extremely flexible with each element that I'm going to be showing you later in this course, okay? So, and third point is very important. In fact, this is something that we will be spending a lot of time on, which is that the background can be changed here. Remember this, what you saw there was a green screen. We'll be spending a lot of time on that, not just in the shooting part, but also obviously the main thing will be in the editing part, where I show you how to replace this green screen, and in such a way that the background that we get ultimately, okay, we'll be designing those backgrounds through AI, okay, which look very real. So what's going to happen is, this is good for you in two ways. One is you can change the background, okay, every time for every video also if you want. You're not stuck with something boring and dull and constant, like is the case sometimes when people spend a lot of money in getting an actual YouTube studio design. Right? So there's no interior designing effort involved here and the cost involved here. And the problem with that is, yes, maybe that can look just slightly better because it's obviously actually real, but then you're stuck with that, right? That also doesn't look good and kind of your videos become monotonous after some time, then you can't keep spending every time in this interior designing effort. But here, with just one click of the mouse, you can get any type of background that you want. And like I said, one of the important parts of this course is that we'll be learning how to create realistic backgrounds. Yes, they won't look 100% real, but as real as possible with the help of some AI tools. Okay, so this is going to be absolutely fantastic. So that's why I call it the cheap, effective, versatile YouTube studio setup. So trust me, it might be humble, but it will do the job. And just before I end this video, just in full transparency, wanted to mention one point, which is that I'm not a big YouTuber myself. Okay, so I run this company called Creative Pad Media. We are there on YouTube. We have a channel which has over 6.2K subscribers and over 300 videos, like you can see here. But we mainly create and sell online courses related to photography and video making and editing, video editing and photo editing. But our YouTube channel, to be frank, is mainly we give snippets like this related to our courses. But ultimately, what we do through our website and also through Udemy is that we sell these courses there on the platforms, and therefore it's very important that when I'm teaching in these courses, the requirements that we need for our courses is very similar to what a YouTuber requires. That means I also need a studio setup, okay, because it's completely video based for me, these online courses. So that requirement remains very common when compared to a YouTuber. And that's why I thought, I'm also qualified to teach you when it comes to creating a studio setup like this. But just wanted to, clarify this in case you started searching for me on YouTube and you were not able to find me. That is the story, okay? So I hope that you're okay with that, because I don't think that really makes any difference because the requirements are the same. So now I hope everything is in place and all the action is going to start, because in the next video, we are going to start the process of looking at all those elements that you had seen in the video before. All right, so I'll see you there. Bye for now. All right, so let's do a quick tour of this setup, okay? Doesn't really have too many things. So let's first of all start off with what all is on the table, okay? So you can see we've got just a normal looking table here, nothing great about it, okay? Just a cheap table. On that, I've got some few props because most of my videos have got to do with, things like photography, video making, and also I usually keep these props here, like these cameras, but this is not necessary. I'm also usually demonstrating something on the laptop, so I have my laptop. Again, it's not a necessity. Important thing for most of the people will be definitely this mic here, okay? So you can see here, let me just go close to this. You basically have here the very popular Blue Yeti microphone, okay? So this is mounted on a boom arm stand which attaches to the table like this, you can see here. We're going to be discussing about why this, according to me, is one of the most important things that you have to get your hands on, okay? So we'll talk about that later, because right now I'm just kind of showing you things, okay? We're literally going to talk about each element properly. In fact, not just talk about it, once you know what it does and why you should buy it, I'll actually even be taking you over to Amazon and we'll be shopping together so that you exactly know what you need to buy. Then, of course, we have the green screen setup behind, okay? This is very, very important. This makes all the difference and turns it into a versatile setup. This is basically let me just kind of, you can see there, we've got some stands here. Again, I'm going to be showing you this is mounted. And if I just move back a bit, this is like just two stands on which a muslin cloth has been mounted. So you can see this cloth here. And on some of the areas, like if I go this side, you can see that we've just got some clamps here, which kind of stretch this nice so that it doesn't have too many wrinkles. So I'm just using 1, 2 clamps here, and I've not even got a clamp here. Maybe, yeah, one at the down there, right? But overall, if I just move back, you can see, right, we've got a pretty even looking green screen. Later on, also, of course, I'll also be talking about this thing that you see here, which is, I'm sure you can see here, yeah, which is a seamless paper. You can also use that instead of the cloth behind. This is a white one, white seamless paper. I also like to use this as for my backgrounds. I'll actually be showing you later on some videos so that you'll be able to understand how this looks when it's there instead of this cloth here. Though this one is slightly just more expensive than buying the cloth. We'll talk about that later. Literally just kind of giving you a walkthrough, okay? Now this part, let me just decrease the brightness here because this is going to be really bright, but we've got a light here, okay? I'm also going to be talking about this particular light. Let me just turn this off right now so that you'll be able to see this. All right. So this is a halogen light, very cheap but very bright. Okay, this literally costs like less than $10, but it's very durable, very bright. Okay, and it's mounted on a light stand, and we've also got a modifier, which is again a shoot-through umbrella. So again, everything remains cheap. If you want, you can use different types of lights. We'll also be talking about what all can you do here. Okay, and finally, of course, I'm not really counting this, but you will need a camera to shoot. I usually use my DSLR mounted on a tripod like this. Okay, and later on we'll also be seeing exactly the shooting process, exactly like how do I go and sit there, how do I focus on myself, what settings do I use. Everything will be, kind of taught to you in detail. Okay. So yeah, that's about it. There'll be a lot of other different options which I'll also be talking about, like if not this mic, then can you use any other type of a mic? If not this background, can you do something else? If not this light, can you do something else? If not the camera, can you do something else? All these alternative options will also be discussed. Okay, so I hope that you are excited. And that's all the sections that are coming up, right from shooting to editing this video, everything will be shown in detail. So I hope you're excited. I'll see you in the next part.